The pounding hunger in her stomach was unbearable, but what broke Neka's heart the most was the way her little son stared at the empty pot. His lips were dry. His eyes were filled with questions he didn't ask. There was nothing left to eat, not even a grain of rice. Tonight they would sleep hungry again. But just as she thought all hope was lost, a knock came at the door. And what happened next would change her life forever. Neka was a poor widow in the village of Oma. Ever since her husband died, life had been hard. She had no farm of her own, no rich relatives, and no one to help her. The village chief, Chief Okonkwo, was a greedy man who hoarded bags of yam and rice in his barn while people like Neka and her children starved. One evening, as the sun disappeared behind the hills, Neka sat outside her small hut, watching her 2 children sleep on empty stomachs. She wiped her tears and whispered, "Chi, if you can hear me, please help us." Just then there was a soft knock on her door. Neka's heart skipped. Who could be visiting at this hour? She opened the door and saw an old woman, bent over a wooden staff. Her wrapper was torn and her feet were dusty, as if she had been walking for days. "Good evening, my daughter," the woman said. "I have traveled far and I am hungry. Do you have anything for me to eat?" Neka looked at the woman with pity. She had nothing, but she couldn't turn away someone who was also hungry. So, she invited the old woman inside and gave her the last cup of water in her calabash. The woman drank and smiled. "You are kind, Neka. And because of your kindness, you will never go hungry again." She reached into her old sack and brought out a small clay pot. It looked ordinary. Brown, round, and covered with a wooden lid. "This is a magic pot," the woman said. "Whenever you are hungry, place it on the fire, say these words. Pot, oh pot, cook for me, and it will fill with food. But remember, once you have eaten, you must say, pot, oh pot, stop. If you forget, well, you will see." Before Neka could ask any questions, the old woman disappeared into the night. The next morning, Neka placed the pot on the fire and whispered, "Pot, oh pot, cook for me." At once, steam rose from the pot. A delicious smell filled the air. Neka lifted the lid and gasped. It was full of hot, steaming pounded yam and egusi soup. She quickly woke her children. Come, let's eat." For the first time in months, they ate until their stomachs were full. And when they finished, Neka said, "Pot, oh pot, stop." The pot became empty again. Word spread fast. Soon her neighbors came and she shared with them. The poor and hungry no longer suffered. But Chief Okonkwo heard about the magic pot, and his greedy heart burned with envy. One night, Chief Okonkwo sent his guards to steal the pot while Neka was asleep. He placed it on his fire and shouted, "Pot, oh pot, cook for me." The pot obeyed. It bubbled and boiled, filling with jollof rice, chicken, and fried plantain. The greedy chief laughed and ate. But when he had eaten enough, he forgot the old woman's warning. He did not say, "Pot, oh pot, stop." The pot kept cooking. Rice poured onto the floor. Fried chicken rolled into the streets. Beans and yam filled the palace halls. "Stop! Stop!" the chief cried. But the pot did not listen. It flooded his entire house with food until he ran outside, slipping and falling in the thick stew. The villagers gathered, laughing. "See your greed, chief. Now you must eat everything." Embarrassed, Chief Okonkwo begged Neka to take back the pot. She agreed, but on one condition. He must share his barn of food with the entire village. With no choice, the chief opened his storehouses, and from that day, no one in Umuoma went hungry again. Neka's kindness saved her, but the chief's greed nearly destroyed him. As for the magic pot, Neka kept it safe, using it only when needed. And each time she placed it on the fire, she remembered the old woman's words. Kindness is the key to an overflowing pot. The end. Oh, tell me, if you had a magic pot like this, would you keep it all to yourself or share with others? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.